Welcome to Truck You Podcast. My name is Sebastian. Today I have a special guest for you on the podcast, Casey Brown. She recently got into flatbed trucking, and I wanted to share her story with you guys. We've had a wonderful conversation. You're going to learn about her opinion about trucking, how we would like to see our industry in the future, and what she's been through so far. And I think that you will enjoy what we've recorded. So thank you for listening to this. Comment, ask questions, and here's Casey. Okay, Casey, welcome to Truck Your Podcast. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm very excited. I've been watching you on Instagram for a little bit, and you agreed to be on our podcast, so I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, me as well. Thank you. I'm super excited.
Where are you right now? What are you?
I am actually right outside of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I got a load I'm dropping off in the morning at 7 a.m. I got here yesterday. I picked it up on Thursday and had to get most of my driving out of the way and then post up for the weekend and do my 34-hour reset.
Where are you heading?
So, yeah,
Where are you heading after tomorrow?
I won't know. I won't know until I put in my empty call tomorrow, and then they'll let me know what my plan is. So
Are
I could be
you?
anywhere.
Do you stay out? How many weeks do you stay out usually?
Uh, Usually about 4 to 5 right now, 4 to 5 weeks at a time since it's over the road. We do
Okay,
48 states. They
good.
do have a regional division that's only Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Yeah.
Okay. So the subject today, what I wanted to talk to you about, why I wanted to have you on, is women in trucking. I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
need more. Would you
Woohoo!
agree?
Yes.
Right? And one and second, I really connect, and I'm really drawn to people that are very positive, and I for some reason feel like you're super positive with watching your Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And I think we need a lot more positivity in trucking.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's something that's really lacking right now.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
So before we get to all the questions that I have for you, um, tell me a little bit because it's I mean, before you became the trucking girl, driving a big semi truck, how did you get there? Like, what did you do?
You
In
know, I've done a variety of things, but I've always worked in male-dominated industries from car parts. Um, this is just over like probably the last 15 years. I did at my last job, I drove a forklift. That was one thing. I drove a forklift and I worked in shipping and receiving. I've actually done that a lot at my jobs. So I've always seen the trucks come and go. Um, and I've always liked heavy machinery. I'm like, man, I want to do that. I've ridden motorcycles. I've been in that industry. I love that as well. And I'm just like, man, even from seeing movies with girls that were just tough, the tough girls, I'm like, man, that's me. So, when you're out there and you see all these people going up and down the road in the big trucks, and it's like, wow, I think I was originally drawn to it from seeing like your Peterbilts, your 379s, 389s, W900s.
yeah,
They're beautiful. So I think, man, I really want to drive something like that. So I think I just slowly worked my way up to that level, and I just want a new life, a whole new lifestyle, like reinventing myself, I guess.
how long have you been driving for?
I finished school in November. I'm actually a new driver,
That's
but
awesome.
the last couple of weeks have made me feel a lot more comfortable about my skills. The first couple of weeks by yourself seemed to be the most, I don't know what's the word. You realize a lot about your strength at that point.
And what type of trailers are you hauling right now?
I'm actually hauling a flatbed trailer for Melton Truck Lines, and I
Nice.
originally picked them because they had a really good reputation. I remember looking online at reviews and stuff, and I was like, well, who do I want to work for? And everybody, even experienced drivers, were like, they are good. So
That's awesome.
you should definitely check them out.
Is that what you've experienced so far with them?
Uh, Pretty much. They're flatbed only. I did work for another company doing reefer for a couple of weeks before this, and it was kind of a bad experience. Not from the reefer portion, but just my training experience. So I left there and kind of landed here because they were able to get me in right away. That's one thing that's kind of tough in the industry is, as a female, is getting in somewhere where they have a good training program or offer female, trainers. Most companies won't put you with a male trainer. So Milton was ready to take me on like right away. They're like, yeah, we'll get you up here. Come on up
That's awesome.
like the next week. Yeah.
Why flatbed though?
It was kind of an accident that I got into flatbed. I had applied with two other companies. One was drive-in, and another one was reefer. And both of them kind of did the whole roundabout thing. Well, they were like, well, we don't have any female trainers right now, or there's going to be a wait. It could be 2 months, 3 months. And I'm like, I'm out of school and I'm out of a job and I need something. So I started just calling different companies, and Melton was like, oh, yeah, we got you. Yeah, we got like 5 or 6 female trainers. Come right in. So it was pretty instant. And it wasn't like that was my decision to begin with. But since I've been doing it, I'm really liking it a lot. I mean, the tarping's not my favorite, but it's kind of fun to take a big old tarp and kind of make it look all pretty like a present, wrapped up around the load. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty
And
cool. It's kind of growing on me.
how long did it take you to train, and how long are you comfortable with tarping and chaining all, like, how did that go?
Yeah, it's actually getting better, and if I'm uncomfortable with, something like chaining or I'm not sure about a load, I'll ask an old timer. I'll ask other people on site, other drivers that are there that are more experienced, or I can call safety. We have a safety
Yeah, that's
department. It's
awesome.
good. You can take pictures. But my training it was a week of orientation in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they had a lot of like hands-on securement and stuff training on site. But to go with somebody, I went out for 3 weeks, driving with my trainer. I did most of the driving, and we would do securement and stuff together. And that's pretty much where they can sign off whether or not you're approved to go forward. My
Good.
trainer said I think I was number 3 out of 8 people she had had on her truck. She said the rest of them she had kicked
Oh,
off
wow.
because of different various reasons. Maybe they were a safety hazard. So I'm glad I made it.
The hardest thing that you faced learning flatbedding, what, anything comes to mind?
Um, let's see. The hardest thing so far. Hmm. Oh, me. You know, I would say not necessarily the securement of the loads.
Hmm.
It's making sure you know where you're going. So I use Google Maps, so you don't get up like in a situation where you've pulled in somewhere and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to back out of here. How am I gonna, get out of this situation? I'd say that's been the most difficult is I use Google Maps and try to do like an aerial view of where I'm going, where I'm gonna park my truck. I'm not gonna make any crazy turns. I'm gonna park and I'm gonna walk into where I'm going. Kind of check out the area first with my pre-plans. So I'd say that's probably the most sketchy is trying not to get in a bind.
Yeah,
I've run
true.
into some situations in full truck stops at like 9 o'clock at night, which is, yeah, that was fun trying to
How,
back out of there.
yeah, I was. How's the parking situation now? I haven't been out for a few
Oh
years now, but
man, if you're not parked by 4:30 or 5, good luck.
really,
You might be parked on a ramp somewhere.
wow.
So I actually try to do rest areas a lot, if I need
Hmm.
to. I plan to do that. If it's going to be late, like I know I'm going to be driving, try to utilize my time and get where I'm going to go. I'm like, well, I'm just going to park at a rest area tonight. I'm roughing it.
Yeah. All right. I'll hit you with a question that I have prepped. American Trucking Association claims 6.2% of all truck drivers are female. What do you
hmm
what do you think about that? Why is this number so low, or is it low?
I feel like that's actually high compared to what I've
Really?
seen. And I think it's been such a male-dominated industry for so long that I don't want to say it's still old school, but there's not a lot of open doors and opportunities for women like the ones I've read into. Oh, we don't have any trainers available, so we'll just put you on a waiting list when really there is no waiting list. There's no option, no way to get in. It's hard. It's like, and I think that's very discouraging for a lot of females too, if because some of the bigger companies do have wait lists where they actually do have trainers, but they might be waiting for several months and then just settle for a job they don't want back home because of
Hmm.
finances, or they're a single parent. So I think the number's about right, 6%, but I definitely think it could be better. I think with the right tools and the right platforms and the right people, out there, definitely training. Training is one thing. It's
Hmm.
just like women going in the gym. I think women get intimidated by all the males, the big guys, the strong guys, are like going to the free weight section. I think trucking's a lot like that. Is It's big machinery and it's intimidating. It's like, where do you start? you know and people tend to forget, like, you got to start small. The beginning is always the hardest, and I think it scares a lot of people away.
What advice would you have? I was waiting for you to finish your sentence, but it's like I've known so many since I've been in the trucking industry for over 10 years now, and I have female drivers in my
Hmm.
company that I hired. And is there
Hmm.
anything what would be your advice, or what would you say to women that are trying to get into the industry or would like to drive a truck? Is there anything that you would like to any
Yeah,
tips?
absolutely. Yeah, I'm full of tips. I would say, if it's something you really want to do, don't. A lot of times people will say, oh, people personally might say, oh, you're too small, oh, you're a woman, it's dangerous. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're small, yeah, maybe it's dangerous, but a lot of times people will tell you things because of their fear. I'm afraid for you, so please don't do that. And then they don't end up living out their dreams, or they're afraid to do it. So they can't do it, so they don't want you to do it. But if it's something you want to do, I say educate yourself with YouTube. YouTube videos helped me a lot when I was in my CDL school. Become friends with people on social media that you can talk to or express your concerns to. Drivers that are experienced already. I had such a good support group, and I still do, and it's still growing, because I'm still learning. But the support system from other people kept me from, like, quitting or backing out. I had great instructors. I mean, I remember when I was learning how to back. Oh my gosh, the first time I tried to do it, I was all over the cones. I went to my car and I cried, and I was like, damn it, I'm not quitting. I'm doing this because I don't have another option. I'm not quitting. This is what I put my heart and soul into. So I thought, well, I'm just going to find a way to make this work. So I started watching YouTube videos. Like, I'll be damned, I'm not quitting. There's no other way,
That's
So
awesome.
I just pushed through it. Just, like, with any job, I think of it like any job you start, any job you go to, you're always the new guy. You're always uncomfortable. And there's always going to be people judging you. You hear it on the CB radio, people talking about other people backing. And sometimes you'll
Yeah.
hear, it's funny, it's fun to watch the new person. But a lot of times, like, everybody started somewhere. I heard somebody
Yeah.
say that on the radio 2 nights ago. I had my radio on when I was sitting at a truck stop, and one of the guys chimes in because one of the other guys was making fun of somebody, and he's like, "Hey, we all started somewhere." So you just have to remember that. And one thing um, is that a lot of people, like, you might be the only girl in CDL school, but a lot of times the guys will root for you. I was the only female out of probably 45 at the Melton orientation. And I kind of felt like a lot of the guys were like, "You got this," and you sort of like a little mascot, and everybody's supportive and cheering for you, and I feed off that. It's awesome.
Good. That's a good point. But is there anything that, since I'm a fleet owner, trucking company owner, is there anything that you'd like to tell me or tell us as fleet owners? Like, what could we
Mhm.
do to attract or create better environments for women truck drivers? Is there anything that you'd like to say to that?
Yeah, actually, I do. I think one thing is, I think a lot of women are, because they're uncomfortable. I think one thing I did hear about one company doing was, tell your female drivers you'll put them in newer equipment or well-maintained equipment, because it does tend to break down. That's what my company did. Is they put me in a newer truck. I know some of the guys were like, "Well, how did you get that?" And they had their reasons, but I think a lot of it too was, newer equipment, less mileage, less wear and tear. It makes you feel safer. And I also think that a lot of companies in orientation don't necessarily provide enough information about safety. A lot of women have expressed how they're afraid, of just being out here. And I think safety training would be one thing, or things to look out for. Because for me, I carry like a taser. I carry a taser, a knife. I carry all kinds of stuff with me,
Have
nothing
you
illegal.
have you had
But
to have you had to use it in the
no,
past?
I
Okay.
haven't had to
Okay.
use it yet, but I keep it handy with me. One of the little tasers I have, it's a flashlight and a taser. I got it at the flea market for like 15 bucks. But stuff like that. And I think facilities like having, I know, some trucking companies are like, like a shop. Like you walk in and it's like, oh my God, you're looking on the ceiling because of all the stuff that's up there. So if you have clean facilities and like stuff for women, because I've seen some places where it's like male bathrooms only,
Yeah.
and nothing against Melton, but when you go to their orientation building, they have a male bathroom and then they have a unisex bathroom.
Ooh.
And sometimes, yeah, they didn't have a bathroom for women. It
Mm-hmm.
was the male one, and then they had a unisex one. So if I went in the unisex one, sometimes there'd be a guy in there or
Yeah.
two, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'd go back out, and then when I go to, I'd make sure there's nobody in there. I'd lock the door. One of the guys told me just lock the door, and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, I know you don't get a lot of women coming through, but that's kind of uncomfortable where you sort of feel like you're having to share your space,
True.
well, guys,
True.
you
No,
know.
those are definitely good tips. Anything else that comes to mind about that? Because I think I mean trucks. Yeah, I 100% agree. Bathrooms, and trainers. But anything else that you like to add to that?
Um, yeah, the trainer thing's definitely it's hard though if you don't have other female trainers as far as like putting males with females, but definitely if you were going to put a female, with a male, you definitely want to make sure it's one of your best quality drivers, good background checks and definitely a good understanding and good trainer training, for your drivers that are going to be training your females as well. That there's absolutely no tolerance for any certain things, but sometimes you can't control people, so you just do the best you can, really,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some companies, social media is great, but I know the first company I worked for, I won't mention any names, but the one that backfired, they approached me on social media kind of in a roundabout way, which I thought, well, that's cool. They got cool vehicles, but I kind of feel like instead of approaching me from a professional point, it was for more personal gain.
Mm.
So I definitely encourage companies try not to target people. I don't say through social media directly. Like don't pick someone out and go, I want that person. If you don't have to, and if you do, try to find a more professional way to go about it.
Mm. That's
Definitely.
very interesting. That's very interesting. So, but what do you think was the agenda behind it? Why?
um, well, I felt like the guy had a good pitch. It was the son. The guy that reached out to me was the son. I don't want to say he was part owner, but his father owned the company.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, we've got a good trainer we can put you with and this and that. We've got a good company. It's small, and I loved everything he had to say, but they ended up pairing me with a guy that I thought was great. But then by the second week I was with him, the trainer I was with was groping me in my sleep. Like I woke up to that. Yeah, I know. I woke up to it. So these nightmares that women
Holy
hear about, it
shit!
does happen. It does happen. So you have to have your guard up. But it did happen to me. But what happened was I kind of laughed it off the first time, trying to save my job. I was like, I really want this job. I should have done more at the time. Well, my trainer, being like, I guess was like bros with the guy that reached out to me about the job. He jokingly told the guy that offered me the job what happened, and the guy was like, "Oh, you're lucky she didn't hit you." So I'm like, well, this is more of a buddy buddy kind of
Yeah.
bro workplace atmosphere instead of a professional. So I don't know. I sort of felt I don't it's hard to figure out why did they target me? Like did they just think, "Oh, she's cute," or
Yeah.
but it was like the whole thing behind it just fell completely apart from professional to just a total shit show.
That's
So I
very
ended up quitting.
that's
Yeah.
very unprofessional. Do you? Well, how big was the fleet? Just out of my curiosity.
I think like 5 or 6 trucks.
Oh,
It was
okay.
really it was yeah, it was
So,
small. It
okay.
was a small outfit, yeah.
That that sort of explains a lot, but at the same time,
Yeah, it does. It
nothing
really does.
justifies that behavior, and it's
I
just
don't-
it's super
right?
very unprofessional. And I mean, kudos to you how you handled it, because shit, I would
Uh,
have
I could have done a lot more. They're lucky I didn't, but
I would have used
just
that taser gun or
I
the
didn't have one at the time.
oh,
That's part of why I went and got one. Yep.
um wow. But what I was gonna ask you is, since you've been in the industry, have you have you noticed any? You know how truckers have a reputation, right? And
Yeah.
I've been in the industry, like I mentioned, for some time, and that reputation was always something that I wanted to target. Because I didn't agree with it. I think
Hmm.
a lot of those generalizations around truckers are false.
Hmm.
Have you found any of them to be true, or any of them to be incorrect or correct? What's your take on that?
You know, I do see a lot of what people talk about, like I mean, a lot of people that I've heard guys in there say, I haven't showered in 4 days. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're right about this. I think some people do let themselves go a little bit out here as far as like the appearance of truckers and sometimes your schedule is so tight that it's like, well, I'm just gonna throw myself together and go to hell with it. And you grab something quick to eat and you hit the road, so it's easy to gain weight. So it's kind of like all the stereotypes for the most part are kind of right, but it's not everybody that's like that. I mean, you see a lot of young people out here. There's a group on Instagram that I'm a part of where the guys encourage like fitness and they're trying to get things turned around to where, let's encourage each other to eat better and be healthy and, try not to let ourselves go and be like that. Maybe it's a new generation of truckers, hopefully. I really would like to see that because I definitely would be on board.
Awesome. I made a note about the fitness group. Will you share that later so we can
Yeah,
post
I'll
it?
definitely let you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I'll post it in the comments and the notes, and I would definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
Do you do anything? Do you have any fitness routine that you do when you stay out?
Um, I was actually thinking about that today. The flatbedding in itself is a
Oh yeah, that's
fitness
true.
routine,
That's
especially
CrossFit.
the tarping. So I'm like, okay, yeah, it is. CrossFit's exactly what I've said it is. I'm like, it's CrossFit. But I tried not to eat bad. Like today I had some of those little, like the little tuna packets where you
Yeah,
tear them open, or they have chicken ones now from Walmart,
nice.
like great value.
Mm-hmm.
I buy a lot of those because they're quick and easy. They make your truck smell, so try to tie up a bag and throw it out
Yeah,
as fast as you
yeah,
can. And I try to keep like healthy stuff with me, especially if you can't exercise or you can't get to a place, or if you're like, oh, I don't really want to exercise around my truck. I mean, for guys, but for females too, if you don't feel safe, it's like, well, shoot, at least try to keep a good eating routine. Like I do, like whole wheat bread. I mean, sandwich meats aren't the best, but hey, turkey, a little cheese, Subway. Subway is always a good option, and I know Pilot's got them.
yeah.
I'm at a Pilot now. They've got a Subway here.
Subway is the trucker's healthy option.
It
Uh,
is.
uh,
It is.
Do you have any fitness routine? Do you do any type of workouts
No.
besides obviously flatbedding?
I used to. I don't, but I was actually thinking about that today. Like no joke. I was like, man, I gotta get some resistance bands or even like some of the weights, like the dumbbells, but they've
Hmm.
got the different, you can change the little locks on them where it's like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. You used to be able to get them at Play It Again Sports, but I think they've closed. But I think Walmart's got them. I
Play It
wouldn't
Again
mind.
Sports is still open. We have
Is
two in
it?
Chicago.
They
Yeah.
closed all the ones around me in Florida.
Yeah, maybe they didn't. Yeah, they didn't go completely out of the business, but they
Yeah.
still have
Oh
at least two shops.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
that's good to know. I'll have to look
yeah.
for one.
Well, next time you're
Yeah.
running to Chicago, stop by and you can get. I'll show. There's one by my
Heck
company.
yeah.
You can stop by and get some.
Heck yeah. I'll grab it and throw it in my truck. I need some big time.
Um, why do you love trucking?
It feeds my gypsy soul. It really does. I've always loved change, like my whole life, like adventure and change and challenges. And I kind of feel like trucking satisfies all of those. Like it for me, it gives me that like empowerment. Like I love like driving like heavy machinery. I love it. I love the sound of the diesel motors. But at the same time, it takes you places and every day is different, especially like with the flatbedding. It's you have to problem solve a lot and just from your trip planning and where you're going, it's every day is different, and sometimes it can be a little nerve wracking, but I kind of run off that. It's kind of a high, it's exciting. Maybe it's an adrenaline rush, a little bit of an adrenaline rush, maybe a little bit of a death wish because it can be dangerous, but
Yeah.
all that together has kind of attracted me to the industry.
How is the because I you mentioned you stay 3 4 weeks out, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
How do you handle being apart from your family back home?
Well, I was actually worried about it at first because when I finished school, I talked to my mom about possibly doing local driving and whatnot, but it seemed like most of the options were very slim, especially if you don't have experience, 6 months or a year. So I was like, well, I started out looking into a company that would keep you out a week and you were home every weekend. Well, that didn't work out. The next one was every 2 weeks and then you're home. And it was like, well, that's not going to work out either. So when the thing happened with Melton, I sat down with my mom and I talked to my son and kind of had an understanding that I'm going to be gone, and I promised my mom because my mom's on a fixed income.
Hmm.
She's on disability. So I promised her, hey, excuse me, tripping over my words. If you look after Mason, check on him with school and everything, then I'll send you money. I'll take care of you guys, the bills. I have a house to make my house payment. I cover groceries, everything like that. It helps her. And believe it or not, she's told me it's given her a purpose again because
Oh,
she
that's
used to
awesome.
be sedentary and sit around the house a lot. And now she's like, I love this. I get up in the morning, I'll make him breakfast. She's like, I might go do a little shopping because she buys and sells and flips stuff for extra money. And she looks after him and he's homeschooled. Well, not necessarily homeschooled, but he does virtual school. So everything's from home. So he's on his own schedule a little bit too. And it helps her. And part of the reason we did virtual school is so he can come with me out on the road. That's kind of what we planned so that once in a while he can go with me for a couple of weeks at a time.
Nice.
So that's what I'm planning.
That's the plan for the future.
Yep, it is. When I go home, I'm going to pick him up and take him with me for a couple of weeks.
That's
So I think
awesome.
he'll like that.
That's great.
He'll love it.
What what do you want to see in the industry going forward?
Going forward, I would like to see more people being excited about it, being excited about trucking, excited about, the they're even maintaining their vehicles, like take initiative, take care of yourself, take care of your company, just have a good attitude because really that's the only way you're going to make it out here. And if you just have a bad attitude in general, I think you're gonna fail no matter what. If it's trucking, you could be working. I mean, you could be a cashier. You could be driving a dump truck back home. Just something. But it's all in what you make in it. And so for trucking, I want to see more people out here through even social media, just having use your voice, use your experience to help other people. Use what you know to lift another driver up. If somebody's excited about driving, don't give them a line of shit about how awful it is or how great it used to be. And I see people talking about money. Oh, well, the money's not great anymore. You know what? What's great for that guy or what used to be great might not be like different money is different for everybody. Like what he calls shit
Subjective, very
pay.
yeah, it's very subjective.
Right. Like what might be shit pay to him is twice what I was making a week.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm making twice what I used to make weekly. And that might be shit pay for someone else. So it's
You know what they
perspective.
say, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. I always say that,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
I love that one. That's new. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
So I
100
definitely
I 100% with you agree with you. I would take it a little further since it's been a while since I drove, but the isolation I feel like social media it's a platform, right? It's
hmm
garbage when it's garbage, and
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
just like people. The social media isn't good or bad; it's what people make it. And
hmm
I feel like if you seek positivity and if you seek good people on social media, you'll find it. And that's what
hmm
I think the industry a little bit needs. a little bit more positivity all around. I feel like, and fishing out people that are, plowing through. And that's one of my reasons that I invited you to be on the podcast, is because I feel like spreading positivity in the industry is
Yeah.
contagious, right? And
Yeah, I'm a
we've
cheerleader for trucking.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And
yeah.
I don't know what I am for trucking, but I I created this podcast and this channel to share my passion for the industry. I think trucking is hella cool. I think being a truck
Yeah, it
driver
is.
is something that I grew up as a kid watching my dad drive semi trucks,
Mhm.
and I was like, this is so cool. Like,
That's awesome.
and that's why when you mentioned social media and trucking, I feel like there's so many opportunities because of the isolation that you used
Right.
to. You're isolated still as a truck driver, but now you have an
Yeah.
option to be in the group, to
You're
have
never
buddies,
alone.
to do
I've had
this,
people say,
right? Yeah,
"Aren't you lonely out there?" I'm like, "Hell no, I'm not lonely. I've got
yeah,
so many friends and people I can talk to at all times." I'm like, "No."
yeah.
It's great. And I try to just keep in touch with the ones that are positive, and the ones that are negative, I'm like, I just don't really respond too much to what they have to say. I'm just like, whatever. You're just bitter.
Somebody told me a very good quote that I always remember and carry with myself. It's, you're the average of five people you hang out with,
Yes,
right?
you're the sixth.
Yeah. So if I'm the
Yep,
average of five people, I'm always going to try to elevate and find five people around me that are going to bring me up and be positive,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's so good. And it's so true too. It's you kind of become like who you hang around the most,
Yeah.
you know? And if you're the smart, they say if you're the smartest person in your group of friends, it's probably time to get new friends. Sorry, old friends. Uh,
Exactly, but again, it's, I
mhm.
mean, it's the investing in yourself and growing. If your friends, old friends, just don't are not interested in growing and learning and developing and finding out new
Right.
things, then shit,
It's kind of
that's life.
stagnant.
Yeah, then you move on,
Exactly.
right? You find friends that are into that, and I've experienced that as well. But as tru truck drivers and the industry in general, I feel like social media, I it's only gonna do great things for trucking, because I remember driving in the early podcast stages and audiobooks. I would have to go out of my way to find good podcasts. There was not a lot of podcasts,
Yeah. Not
2010,
like,
9,
yeah,
right? So now there's so much good content that if
exactly.
you're
I wish we had
tired,
had that when I was a kid. All the
well,
things at our
guess what?
fingertips.
We have it now when we're adults,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with it. I'm like, as long as I have it now, I'm good.
yeah,
It's
but
helped so much. Just like when I was in trucking school, the YouTube stuff saved me.
that
Seriously.
is
It helped so
that's
much.
so money that what you're saying that, because like I do trainings
Hmm.
with in my company, and I try to
Hmm.
shoot videos, and I keep engaged with my drivers
Hmm.
via videos. But like every time I have somebody do doubles, like I show them a video, hey, this is how we hook up doubles. Make sure you have,
Yeah.
you if you have any questions, rewatch it or let me know how we can help. So yeah, that
Right.
definitely is, I mean, you can pretty much find anything on YouTube right now.
Hmm. It's so true. Oh my gosh, it's a Bible.
Yeah.
It really is.
You're into motorcycles and tattoos, huh?
I am.
Tell me
I kind
about
of
that a
feel
little
like I
bit.
haven't really been into motorcycles as much lately. It's still there for anybody that knows me. I just haven't been able to ride much lately, and I actually ended up. I'm kind of between motorcycles. I actually sold my motorcycle to fund this trucking dream.
Okay.
So I said, once I made my money back, I'll buy another one. So yeah, I was trying to keep myself afloat in the meantime, but. Yeah, I love to ride. It's probably like kind of like trucking. It's the freedom of
Freedom,
the
right?
open road. Yeah, exactly. And I love the culture. It's kind of like trucking has its own kind of subculture too. You know, that like with motorcycles, it's kind of a custom culture, subculture, and kind of see that with trucking as well. It's like the old cowboys,
I want
highway cowboys and stuff, you know.
100% agree. I not only agree, I think the solidarity and the people in regular cars just don't understand how it is to drive a truck, and
Mm-mm.
that's something that not only obviously has consequences when they drive like idiots around a semi truck,
Oh
but
yeah.
that's what makes truckers kind of united, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just wish there was a little bit more open mindedness around,
Hmm.
like you said before, somebody's learning, given cut, let him make the mistakes, right? But
Hmm.
with the shortage of drivers in the industry, and I air quote shortage of drivers because now we have a little bit too many trucks on the road,
Uh-huh.
with
Oh yeah.
the work being scarce. But um, that could be another topic. What about tattoos? Tell me about your favorite tattoo that you have.
Oh my goodness. I have a lot of tattoos. I get a lot of comments on my Panhead motor. It's a
Yeah, I
Panhead
see.
Harley Davidson
Yeah, I've seen
motor.
that. I've seen it.
I get a lot of compliments on that. It's probably one of my favorites. Um, but you'll probably laugh. I have a Peterbilt tattoo across my thigh. It's
Oh,
probably
and you're
my
driving a
favorite.
Kenworth? Oh no.
I know. I know. It's kind of like almost like I feel like a poser. It's almost embarrassing. But I've driven a Peterbilt, 18 speed. I've driven it, so I could say, that's when I got that tattoo.
Okay.
So now I gotta get a Kenworth tattoo now. So I've kind of got a cool idea for that. I won't say what it is yet, but you'll probably see it soon enough. But it's interesting.
That's so funny.
So,
Are you thinking about becoming an owner operator at some point?
oh yeah, definitely. And I think insurance is kind of a big deal when you're new. I think you have to wait a year or two, from what I've heard, before you even try to make a purchase or before insurance companies will even touch you. It's a
Yes.
fortune. So I'm kind
Um,
of like, well, I'll get my experience now and learn everything I can, in a company vehicle and company terms and everything else, and just learn the
yes.
ropes and then do that.
100%. And you always have YouTube, so make sure you. It's not only.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to know, and I hopefully you can dig some stuff through my channel and look
Oh,
what
absolutely.
I've done. But I have a plan to uh, go a little bit in depth, because I have a lot of guys hitting me up, especially with my drivers,
Oh, wow.
asking,
I
Sebastian,
bet.
I want to buy a truck. Can I buy a truck and sign on with you? I'm like, just take it easy. Let me just, you
Yeah.
know, go
Yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
read these books and then come
Calm
back.
down first.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
ready yet.
yeah. Show me your savings account, then we'll talk.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know you have to have a whole bunch of money saved up for repairs
Yeah,
that you're not going to expect.
not only for
Uh,
repairs, but also you have to know what truck to choose, not to have a lot of repairs, because
right. What
uh,
looks good might cost you more.
yeah, don't get that truck
Uh,
that's gonna impress your cousins,
that show
for sure.
truck.
Yeah, no,
The
un,
fuel
un,
costs more too. Uh-huh.
unless you're buying something a classic, and that's you can find. I actually bought a truck for myself. I have I bought an International 4300, like an old
Hmm. Oh,
1983.
wow. Fun.
Yeah, so I'm gonna build it at my shop, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna lower it, make it. I'll stretch it a little bit, make it
Oh my
cool.
goodness.
Yeah,
You'll
so
have a show truck, or will it be a work truck too?
it will be work truck, but a show truck too, because we want
Yeah.
to take it to different types of shows.
Oh,
But
that'll be fun. Oh, that's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So you're invited.
Oh, thank
If
you.
you're in Chicago, just stop by.
Yeah,
I'll show.
soon probably, because I know we go through there.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And especially now with the flatbed season starting in spring, you're probably gonna end up
Yeah,
here
I'm
sooner or
actually
later.
looking forward to that. I thought I was going to get frostbite pumping fuel yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't feel my fingers. I was like, I was only out of the truck for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh Lord.
That's so
I hope
funny.
I don't have to retarp in this, but luckily it's going to be warm tomorrow. I think like
What
55. That's warm now.
what is your home state? Where do you live?
Florida. I live just outside of Daytona Beach, Florida. So I'm
Okay.
used to 80, 90-degree weather. This 17-degree stuff is kind of different for me.
Yeah, I just came back from Hollywood, Florida. It was
Hmm.
amazing. Oh, so good.
I'm still on
Seven.
the screen, right?
Yeah,
My
you are.
camera went up for a
Yeah.
second. Okay,
No, you're
that's
good.
good.
You're good.
Hollywood, how was that?
Pretty good. Awesome. 75 degrees beach.
Ah,
Took the kids
yes.
for a little break from cold, but then we came back and now it's 60 in
Yeah.
Chicago, so it's all
Oh
good.
my goodness. 60 is not bad. I've learned. I'm like, that's actually pretty good. I used to think that was cold in Florida. Now I'm like, oh, I pray for that today,
Yeah, yeah.
tomorrow.
Where
Wonderful.
can people find you, Casey. Tell
Well,
me what's your social media, or where can people find you?
I use primarily Instagram. My name is Dixie Gypsy. It's
Hmm.
DIXIEGYPZ. So
Okay,
it's a little different on the gypsy part, but
I'll link it in the
that's,
comments.
yeah, that would be great. And I'm on Facebook. I don't really use it as much, but my name's Casey Brown. If you want to look me up, that's how you can find me. But
Awesome.
yeah, Instagram's my favorite.
When are you starting the YouTube channel?
Oh my goodness. Probably once I figure out what kind of equipment I need. I definitely need a videographer, somebody to help me like edit my content. I can have my son
You
do
have
that.
you have a phone, right? You have a phone on you,
Yeah,
right?
I can use
That's
Splice.
all you
I think
need.
there's some different ones. I could definitely do like a low budget. I'll do a B movies. There we go.
It's
Low budget YouTube.
Casey, and also the quality is subjective. It's the content that matters.
That's true.
You
That's
know.
true. That's true. You got me thinking. I might do it. I've been thinking about it, toying with the idea.
Awesome.
I have to just see
Well,
what people want to see.
I wanted to thank you very much. This was definitely a lot of fun for me, and
Me too.
for your, not only for, I just wanted to kind of acknowledge you for your courage and how you just show up, and how you stepped into an industry and you're doing great, and how
Thank
um,
you.
what you've shared here today with me is definitely some impressive stuff, and I just really wanted to acknowledge you for
Oh,
that. It's,
wow. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Thanks for having me.
thank you for being on the podcast, and
Yeah, anytime.
hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Definitely. Thank you.
I know about myself. What is the one thing that you know? So like, yes, like I'm gonna go
It's
for it. Well,
painful to fail. Like I've failed so many, like, or quit. I've quit. And I know the answer to quitting every single time, and it's regret.